Yeah, all right, mate. Let's look at this here. So Lina, I did say it should be good for accumulation. It had that big early pump. A lot of times when you have a big early pump like that, it can actually, how do I want to say it? It can almost be a test pump. And then when price comes back down, it can go back into accumulation. And later, the market will be targeting those previous highs. It'll need to break those previous highs to move into a real bull market. So at some point, the previous high can become a target. But let's look into it here. You said you've accumulated a small amount at 11 or 1.1 cent. This supporting the price, white 100 supporting the price at the moment. That's what you want to see in a 3-day apex, but sometimes you can break that before getting the real moves. But let's have a look at it. At this point, 2-week chart, it does not look fantastic. You've broken down of this structure, and it's a pretty bad breakdown at this point. Not to say that it can't come back up, but it's a nasty, it's a breakdown. And as you mentioned, it's a bit like a bear flag. So I have to agree that there's a bearish element to this at this point, meaning that you get some sort of bearish consolidation, and there's a decent chance for lower prices. Well, that's what it looks like from there so far. But the 9-week is showing a bearish engulfing. We did take a small little bit of liquidity here and then dropped and flipped red on the 9-week. It's a bearish trend at the moment, especially after you get this big wick. So yeah, the trend is down at the moment. I don't think there's any need to rush in and FOMO and buy here, because this could roll over more. So if we look here, yeah, well, even the monthly, slightly bearish there. There's a new month in 1 day's time. To be honest, I would prefer, this drop back down to retest the lows. Will it get to the lows? Well, I'm unsure at this point. Actually, there is still a decent chance, now not a certainty, but there's still a decent chance that this was the first major low. Even though this is a stop hunt, this is a deviation below there, stop hunt deviation, below here. If you draw that, there's kind of this sort of deviation here below the lows you can back up. But there's an argument to be made now that, move that out of the way, that this is the first low. And where do you want to accumulate? Well, a lot of times you don't always get it, but if you get it, a lot of times it can be the better place to be accumulating. A lot of times you can be accumulating down below the first major low. The stronger coins will not come back and do that a lot of times, right? But is Lina one of the strongest coins in the market? At one point it was. This was one of the biggest moves in the market at that point. It was huge. It was I don't know the percentage, but and there was other coins were stronger. But I'm just saying, a 5x there in a bear market is way more than the average token. So there is an element of strength to this. So at this point, I would just keep an eye on it. I don't want to be buying here. I think at some point you're going to get lower prices. The ideal situation is to buy below this first low. But it may not get there. It may create the higher low, right? We need to watch for that. We need to figure that out. But there's liquidity down here. All of this down here below the price. There'll be liquidity to come back for down here, in theory. So it should come down and either create that higher low, right, and then move off, or come right down below it, create a new low before coming back up. Okay, so at this point, you can see here this large sell volume as well. Large sell volume at the top can cause real selling. You can see right here, this was the largest selling. Right there is the largest selling volume. Large selling at the top. I mean, it bounced right up and you got large selling, which is a bearish stop on above here into this resistance point. And below the moving average. Large selling at the top of a move up. Created this. See this sort of 3-candle pattern? It created more downside, and we have something similar here. This candle here was bearish selling, real selling at the top of the trend. So ideally, price should go lower and break below this candle right here, and that's on a monthly chart. So price should go below this large red candle at some point. So for now, I would have patience. I know it's not always easy. It's frustrating. It's been a frustrating bear market. You know, the market has been unbelievably choppy. It's the worst bear market in the history of crypto. But you know, I suppose that's all we can do in the meantime. But sometimes patience is the best thing to do, and then you can buy that lower instead of really trying to keep averaging down. It's better to just have patience, and when you get that right entry or that low entry, then it's better to take it.